Hey, what's good, people? This is episode 201. We're one past episode 200. This guy looks like John Moran. All right? Yeah, there he is. And that lady looks like Miranda, the girl who saves all when you think you can tech your own show. Buckle up, people. The episode starts right now. What's good, bruh?
How are you doing? This has been a long time coming.
Ladies and gentlemen, you have asked, and now you shall receive. Because for me, I've got to give the people what they want. John Moran in the house, guys.
Happy day. This has been a long time coming, man. I really appreciate you sticking with it.
And dude, I appreciate, because I like good human beings and I like good players. So you kind of fit the bill. And
thank you.
And here we are. Actually, chronologically, I'd like to give each other permission to kind of like jump all over the place.
Sure.
First time I met you, it was 2016. The NVL.
Yep.
There was our last stop in Hermosa Beach.
Yep.
And actually, let's turn this on. Yeah, so NVL, it was our last stop in Hermosa Beach. It was July, somewhere in the end of July, and it was unusually hot and unusually humid and
sweltering.
And the third round of the qualifier, like these guys who thought Hermosa Beach would be easy. So now you got deep sand,
yep,
and you have this hot day,
yep,
and you got people burning their feet, and I saw Stevenson and Long on one knee, just kind of like, like people taking a long time to get up to create de facto timeouts.
Yeah, guys were getting blisters. We had heat exhaustion. It was a very weird weather kind of pattern, which we never really get in Hermosa Beach. It's wild.
Hold on, do me one favor. See that shield behind you? The shield and the block thing? No, the Captain America thing?
Yeah.
Yeah. Do me a favor. Put that over there. Yeah,
sure.
It's like in his camera shot.
Okay.
Ah, there it is. That's right, when Captain America throws his mighty shield.
Oh, my God.
Yeah, so actually just walk me through some of the conditions of that day, because I think we remember it well. It was,
Yeah, it was really the end of my AVP career. I was getting older. Mm-hmm. And as you and I have talked about a lot, I obviously had a business the entire time I played in the AVP, so it was fighting 60-hour weeks on a startup, plus was playing on the AVP, trying to stay in the top 48. It was brutal. Made the decision as I was kind of winding down with my buddy Adam Cabbage, great young player, to switch over and play the MVL predominantly for logistical reasons. Less tournaments, money was good, competition, was equally tough, but I would say probably in some of the earlier rounds not as tough as an AVP. So it just lined up a lot better for where I was at in my life. We decided to sign up for the AVP or the NVL Hermosa, which was, I think, our first NVL tournament. Of course, they stuck us deep in the qualifier, no wild card. We were literally at one of, if not the last seeds in the entire tournament. Came all the way through the qualifier, and then, as you know, went all the way through to the finals. And I was gassed. I mean, it's literally one of the most exhausted I've ever been in any tournament I've ever played in. Mm-hmm. So take my age on top of everything else, right? Because I think I was 40 at the time, trying to mix it up with the Young Bucks, and it was crazy. Like you said, it was incredibly hot. I think it was high 80s in the temperatures. There was humidity, which we never get in the South Bay. We played all the qualifier matches, marched through to the finals. I got to the finals. I remember telling Adam, like, dude, I'm done. Like, literally, we were sitting in the medical tent. We didn't even warm up. I barely warmed up, I should say, before the finals. Got out there and just got absolutely smoked by a very good team.
Right? Yeah, that was Dave Palm and the late, great Eric Zahn.
Yeah, God bless him. And
who you beat, by the way, in the winner's bracket.
We did. We beat him in the winner's bracket. I think it was a little fresher then, and they obviously picked up some things heading into the finals. And well-deserved win by those guys. They played amazing, and I was done. I was cash. I remember that week I didn't play volleyball the entire week. I was literally torched. My feet hurt. My body hurt. Yeah. I mean, you're 40 years old playing against these young guys. It's tough, right?
Not just that. I want to take into consideration for some of it, the people who follow the podcast, some of you are avid pro volleyball players, some of you are pros, and For some of you that don't know what it takes to actually make it to a tournament like this, for those of you that think, oh, volleyball's good exercise, no, they're elite athletes that exercise so they can play. So if you take the given circumstances, the guy's working 50, 60 hours a week, right? You have this finite amount of time to actually train, to actually take care of your body. You know, this and that. Nutrition kind of takes care of itself, because if you know, you know, and if you eat like a bum, you're just gonna eat like a bum, right? Just to get to the qualifier, one thing. To get somehow, some way to get to the main draw with against stellar competition, and those conditions to me is already a win, right? And then to go to the main draw and go through the finals, which, by the way, which may have helped you. Winners bracket helps, right? Winners bracket is less matches, right?
Yeah, we didn't lose a single game until the finals.
That's great.
Yeah, and I don't know, had we lost the game earlier in the tournament, we probably wouldn't have been able to make it to the finals, let alone, because from a conditioning standpoint, I don't think I would have been able to play extra matches. So, but you touched on something I think is really interesting, and you know, when I moved to Southern California, I made a decision. I think we all have a decision tree in our life, and you have to make sacrifices. And I think one of the things that a lot of guys unfortunately have to make the sacrifice on in volleyball, especially when they want to be a professional athlete, is they have to sacrifice the financial piece, especially now, as you and I know that the tour is in some pretty choppy waters. So, you know, I had made that decision early when I graduated from school and I moved out here. I was never going to sacrifice my financial future for myself, for my family, for my kids, in order to play volleyball and get, you know, past a certain level. And another late great person, Dave Williams, who was the COO for the AVP, I'll never forget, I was in Chicago, had a great tournament with one of my all-time favorite partners, Mike Placek. And, you know, we took a 7th in that tournament, and I forget what I was doing, but I had to put something in the AVP bus, or like the van that follows you around, the tractor trailer. I think it was, I borrowed some balls to like warm up with Mike or something like that. And I took the ball bag back into the trailer, and Dave Williams said, "John, you know, I always thought you were one of those guys. If you had just dedicated yourself to the sport, you could have been a top 10 player." Right. Yeah. And that resonated with me. It still does today. I still think about that. And I actually took that as a tremendous compliment. First off, don't know if I could have ever been a top 10 player. You look at the top 10 players, they're ridiculous. The Triborns, the Phil Dahlhausers, all these guys that played when I was playing. I was never the athlete those guys were. Yeah. But what I took a tremendous amount of pride in is that, you know, I worked extremely hard on a limited time schedule with massive responsibilities outside of the sport, both personally in terms of my family, and then also professionally in terms of my career and the companies that I had. And I took a tremendous amount of pride in that. And I think what sucks now for a lot of great athletes, and there's some tremendous players, like incredible athletes, tremendous players, and they have to sacrifice the financial piece, and they're barely making ends meet, and they're coaching privates, and they're doing this, and they're struggling, and they're really, really struggling in the sport. And it never gets lost on me, and I have a tremendous amount of gratitude in my own life that I never had to sacrifice that piece. I was able to play at a very high level, maybe not, you know, be the Olympic guy or any of that stuff, but was able to, you know, make a lot of top 10s, win a lot of tournaments, and never had to sacrifice that financial piece. And that MVL was a great example, coming full circle. I got in that tournament, and you look at guys like, you know, the late Eric Zahn, you look at a Dave Palm, these tremendous athletes, tremendous players.
Man, yeah.
Dude, yeah, unbelievable. And there's so many great guys, and I love the fact that the MVL put a tour out there to compete with the AVP, right? A little competition, kind of what you're seeing in golf, PGA and Live. And I thought like that was going to be so good for the sport, and inevitably we just haven't gotten past that. And so, you know, be able to play in a final like that, and again, with the training and the work schedule and the kids and yada, 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 stack. Man, I was like, I'm just so grateful, especially at 40 years old, to be able to do that. It's incredible.
Well, that seems to be the conflicting forces of the sport, right? Yeah. You have this thing, like, if anyone ever seen Rambo First Blood Part 2 at the end, when he's like, I want what they want, and every other guy who's built their guts for this country and gave everything they ever had wants for our country to love us as much as we love it. And that's how a lot of the players and fans feel about the sport. They just want the sport to love us as much as we love it. So that's one side, right? And the other side is like, you think there's a whole bunch of people that don't care. They just care about themselves, and they're driven by their own ego, and they eventually get crushed by their own ego. And I've been one of those people that have been accused of that. But being on the empathetic side of me is about them saying, we care to, show us how. You know what I'm saying? Or which has always been my argument. Like if they don't know how about you gotta humbly defer to the people that do, right?
Yeah.
All the way for every occupation, organization, productivity, marketing and promotion, sponsorship,
Sure.
all the way down to the color commentator. You know,
Yeah.
you know, you keep enlisting the same people that think that that are supposed to be your savior. These people wind up unwittingly or not becoming your oppressor. So that's one end I wanted to talk about. Second end, your level of play. In 1992, there were 22 million people that played this sport. Right, rule change happens, went down to 16 million. Correlation's not causation. I'll skip that. But out of the millions of people that play this game, there's only a few thousand that play beach volleyball at the A level or higher. A few thousand, right? So now, good AA, AAA. Now it's on one coast because there's no AAA rating on the East Coast, right?
Sure.
So now you're down a couple of hundred, and then you're like open players. Now you're down to 200, and then you're down to people who make the tour and who play with good partners. Now you're down to like 50. So I think what I'm trying to say is I admire your honesty about where you felt like, you know, your record, you are what your record says you are, but don't cut yourself short. There's Olympians, right? And beach volleyball, we can mathematically count them. They're what, 24?
Yeah.
24 men, right?
Yes,
There's only 24 men that won the medal, right?
Yeah, 96. Yeah. No, you're right.
Right? 20, like, I mean, the Brazilians, right? Phil,
Well, if you take it, US,
Brink and Reckerman, right? Like, Alessandro,
the USA,
whatever. It's only 24 guys who won the gold.
Yeah, not only that, I mean, USA only sends 4 guys every year.
Yeah. What?
Right?
Yeah.
And it's every 4 years. Right? So,
Yeah,
no, I appreciate that. And again, I feel incredibly fortunate, and I wish I have a lot of thoughts on kind of where the sport should go, but I feel so fortunate that I was able to play an extremely high level, win a lot of tournaments. You know, won the Motherlode, as we kind of talked about, both in the Open and the Masters.
Who'd you play with again?
Right? I won the Open with Jesse Rambis, Kurt Rambis' kid.
Yeah.
Which was incredible. Won Seaside Open with Eyal Zamet, who you know.
Yeah.
So won some of those signature kind of legacy tournaments that guys in our sport, guys and girls know about. So I was able to do those. Won a lot of CBVAs. Won a couple. I always say this. I was a good player.
Yeah.
I think I was a good player.
Sure.
And I was able to kind of stay in the top 32 for a little while. But I play with great partners.
Yeah.
I mean, the Casey Pattersons, the Elzamets, the Mike Placeks, the Brian Sold. I mean, the list is long.
I went through that list. I went through that BVB list.
Scott Davenport, Adam Jewell. I mean, I never would have had the opportunities and would have won the tournaments I won, made the money I did. I mean, if it wasn't, I was a good player. They play with great partners. Yeah. Great partners. I mean, you had one of them on the screen when I walked in.
Dave Smith.
Right, won the Motherlode Masters with that guy. He's single-handedly the guy that got me back into the sport here a couple of years ago when I had taken my break. So
you've heard of Father Time. I bring you Father Timeless. All right, Dave Smith.
It's unbelievable. That guy's amazing.
I remember him winning, making it to the draw Manhattan Beach with Nate Yang.
Yeah,
he's beat Watchvogel and Strickland.
The guy's ageless. He's ageless. Yeah. So, but again, that is, and that's also, we're jumping around, but that's one of the dirty little secrets in volleyball is if you can get to a certain level, all the best players play with the best players.
Right.
Right. So
Yeah.
I take a ninth at Miami, come through the qualifier again, picked up a kid that nobody had really heard of. He had played a couple tournaments named Casey Patterson.
Right.
Right. We marched through the qualifier. We end up in the first round of Miami. We take down Wong and Olsen, which is a top 5 seed.
Yeah.
And
you end up losing to the other Casey, right? It was
Casey Jennings. He was like what an incredible, that guy, man, what an incredible player, him and Furbringer. We lost to them, but my point was we took a ninth. Do you think we took a ninth because John Moran was all world? No, we took a ninth because I did my part. I was pretty good at it, and then I played with a ridiculous. I mean, it's Casey Patterson. Guy went on to the Olympics. Enough said, right?
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
What more can you say? Yeah.
That was literally my career. I remember I played an AVP in Sacramento with the Alzamet, and I think we took a 13th. And we quickly, from Sacramento, is really close to obviously Tahoe, and we go to Zephyr Cove. And we go down to Zephyr Cove, and we end up winning that tournament, same weekend, right? So we lose on like a Thursday or Friday in the AVP, jump over to Zephyr Cove, win that tournament. I think it was like $2 or $3 grand for first. Do you think John Moran was crushing it in Zephyr Cove? No. I think Alzamet had like 97 aces, right, over the course of 2 days. I'm like, it's embarrassing. I mean, the guy was all world, and that was
he was doing some Andre Beloff stuff.
100%. And that was like my whole AVP career was like that, right? Be good enough and be solid enough where you can get guys to take a chance on you, and you can do some fun things in the sport. And again, never had to sacrifice the career, the financials, which it breaks my heart. You talk about empathy. I have a tremendous amount of empathy for the athletes today. Like the best players in our sport are struggling, male and female.
I now have empathy because what I saw when I came here were a bunch of guys who were good skill players and took the fact that they weren't making money, use it as an excuse to stop training like the
Right.
athletes. I'm like, if you're showing me an Instagram video of yourself working out, dude, you're probably not working out.
Yep.
You know, and everybody's like, who does he think he is? I'm like, I'm a guy with fresh eyes who doesn't owe you praise or criticism. Tell me I literally have to sit some of these guys. Tell me you gave everything you had before the season started. Just tell me to my face as a New Yorker. And they can't.
Yeah.
They can't. So
but there's also there's a whole bucket of guys and girls that are just giving everything to the sport, and the sport especially, you know.
But guys like you change that. Guys like you roll up from Phoenix, Arizona.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? You treat everybody with respect. You're out there. You're giving it your all. You pick up Casey. Casey became great. And it seems like every time there was like a top 10 or top 15 finish, you're part of this crew of people that I call familiar faces. Right?
Yeah, it's fair.
Like some of these coaches that I do
that.
now, I respect every coach out here, and I treat everyone the same, which is what people like about me and hate about me. It's like, you don't treat me the same as them. I did this, you know. So there's some people like that, but like Aaron Mansfield, who coached at LMU, I didn't know that he played with Theo Brunner. I didn't know he made a main draw with Theo Brunner. He's the head coach at LMU, and I met him because I was with Jobs.
Are you just happened to mention a guy that I played? You know him?
Yes.
He and I took a ninth in Manhattan.
That's what I'm saying.
But we beat Olsen Nygaard, right? We beat an Olympian for God's. I mean, like, there's another great example.
A good team, too.
Dude, Olsen Nygaard in Jeff's final tournament, and I had tremendous. Nygaard was like I was a huge fan of his. I was a huge fan of a lot of players, but yeah, and same thing. Picked up Aaron Mansfield, who took a chance on me because Theo had dumped him, and Theo was ascending. And Aaron and I had to pick up a ninth in Manhattan Beach.
Yeah.
Right? And the kid was unreal. I mean, digging balls all over the place. Just do your job, right? And but the other thing you said,
I like Nygaard a lot.
Yeah, I like Nygaard a lot too. But the other thing you said, which is really true, is just hard work. The one thing that does drive me crazy, but this is like in every facet of life, and I don't know any other way to do it. So I'm sure there's guys that are way more talented. There's girls that are way more talented. But my whole thing was, you know, if I put in the work in any aspect, right, personally, professionally, volleyball, if I put everything into it and I outwork the person next to me, there's a good chance I'm going to be at least level with them when I step on the court. Am I ever going to jump like Sean Rosenthal? God, no. God, no.
Jeez.
Right? I mean, just freak natural athlete. But if
I'm why they call him Superman.
But if I'm in the gym,
yeah.
But if I'm in the gym, if you're in the gym and you're doing the work and you're out on the sand putting in the reps and I put a lot into the sport when I could, 7 straight years waking up at 4:30 in the morning, as God is my witness, my mother above. 4:30 in the morning, wake up every single day for 7 years. Yeah. 7 years.
God bless.
Yeah.
But that's hard work, and that's conditioning, and that's nutrition, and that's training. And I'd like to talk about another category of people. Like when I moved here in 2016, I was friends with Rafu before I moved here, and I became friends with John Mayer. And like I hope I'm kept the McCollochs, right? So
John Mayer's a sick volleyball player.
He really is. He's the best lefty I've ever seen in the sport. It's just ridiculous.
Yeah.
And I mean better than Smedden's, better than a lot. I mean he was so,
so fluid.
And his and you sit and have dinner with him, you're like, oh my God, like just when I thought I knew everything about the sport.
Yeah, the way you saw the game.
I'm in the head of a genius. I met him in
100%.
Mexico. We had an indoor versus pros, like an exhibition thing. I got work, but we became
I would challenge you there on the best lefty ever seen, because I think Dax Holdren is maybe one of the best. And again, I'm older.
No, but that's a conversation.
It is a conversation.
Yeah. That's 100%.
And Dax was another one of those guys, just so smooth, did everything well. Everything really well. And Mayer was, incredible. But Dax also played big court and short court. So
right.
I give him a ton of.
But like someone like
and
Rafu,
won on both.
Someone like Rafu was good and bad for the sport because he was so talented. They're like, oh my God, what do you do for training? What do you do for your workout? I don't work out.
Yeah, he doesn't
so
work
what do you eat? Do you do a low carb? No, I just eat whatever I want, right? And it's like,
and there's the little part
like
of us that envies guys like that.
Him and Peter, when he hooked up with Peter Marciniak, I'm like, so when you wait, you're in Temecula and he's in Florida. When do you guys train? He says, we don't. We just like go on the court and play. so you look at someone like him, like showcase his skill set. He's one of the best hands in the game.
Yeah.
Like the hands that no one talks about, right? You talk about Scala Del Sol, whatever, all the way back to Randy, right? No one mentions Rafu. Great hands. But then you see his skill, right? And everybody's like, oh, so you just need skill to play the game. No, Rafu is an outlier. You have to work out.
Yeah.
You have to eat. Rafu is what you call a unicorn that you and me could take in the lab and just like try to understand.
He's a
how
natural
that
volleyball
works.
player. Yeah. So there's, and by the way, again, I would contend you and I have a little bit of envy for people like that because I've never been a true natural at really anything I've ever done. I've had to work it all.
We all decide we hate them. We all get together and this nice guy, we decide we hate you. We don't care if you're nice. We hate you. But they allowed me to fly under their umbrella a little bit. They knew I was a pure indoor coach, but they knew my reputation as I knew how to win. So they're like, come with us to Manhattan Beach. Come train, I did a training session with them in Temecula and just reminded them of some things that indoor players bring to the beach, like holding your platform at the end. Right, holding's going to allow you to get your peripherals so you can see the option better. Right, so now you're not just doing this low pass where he has to set you or has to, So I helped them just take care of the little things, and they helped me prepare for Manhattan Beach because I played. That was the only tournament I ever played.
Really, what year?
I played with Tyler Lucas in 2016. Black Tyler.
Oh,
Lucas. Yeah. We played TK Kohler and Jake Rosner. I just wanted to play one so people don't give me that gladiators in the arena bullcrap speech. I just you just want to say one to be like, I did play, so shut your mouth.
I think that's awesome. Yeah. I didn't even know you played one.
So they coached me, and I ended up coaching them, and they won 4 straight contenders bracket matches after losing Loomis and whomever, and they beat some good teams. They beat the Baumgrens. They lost to Todd. It was Todd's last tournament. Todd and Stafford Slick, and it was Kevin McColloch. Yeah,
that's awesome.
And the last time I coached them, it was a qualifier match. It was Kame Schulk and Reed Pretty in Huntington Beach.
That's a terrible draw.
Sorry, we got to.
Hey, welcome to the qualifier. Here's your reward. You get to play these two guys.
Yeah, you got 3 AVP champs, two Olympians, and one big problem.
When you show up to tournaments, you look at the bracket like, that's a bad draw. That's a real bad draw.
Yeah. So, my question is, you're from Phoenix, Arizona. Where'd you go to college again?
University of Arizona.
University of Arizona.
Bear down, go Cats.
Was Evan Sobelstrom there with you?
So he was at ASU. Yeah, so
he's a Sun Devil.
He's a Sun Devil. Gotcha. Yeah, we don't really talk about Sun Devils when you're
you don't.
When you're a Wildcat.
No, we don't mention the S word here.
No. We have another word for him.
But did he play club the same time as you?
He did. And I think a lot of people, at least kind of in the volleyball circle, know about the U of A club story. It's pretty unique. And again, I'm one of those guys. Like, I might not be lucky at a craps table in Vegas, but I'm lucky in a lot of other parts of my life. End up at U of A. U of A gets a bunch of money from a local attorney. The guy funded the team for approximately 7 years. So we end up giving out 6 scholarships as a club team. When other people are taking the team bus to an event, we're flying to Colorado. You know what I mean? Like, it was a wild experience. I'm not going to mention names here, but we had 2 kids on the teams where we were giving them, we're not only giving them full rides, we're also paying for their apartments, and we're giving them $150 on a meal card every month. So, and this local attorney, he just loved.
And it's club. You get to do
whatever you want.
And
you get to do whatever you want.
It's the Wild Wild West.
Yeah, 100%. So,
yeah. What are the rules again?
There are no rules. Yeah, it was amazing. So I was there for the club season while we were getting that funding, and it was awesome. I have nothing to compare it to. We ended up playing a number of D1 schools and got our asses kicked. But in the club circle, we won NORCECA twice, won the NORCECA National Championship for club twice, but we were paying all the players. We had literally 8 kids that were getting paid on the team when I was there. It was pretty cool.
That is cool.
Yeah.
Dude.
So went to U of A, and then
wait a second.
Moved out here.
Where did Matt Olson go?
He finished up at U of A.
Come on.
I cannot confirm or deny if Matt Olson got any money to play college volleyball, but like you said, it's clubs, so there are no rules.
Yeah, what are they going to do? Call the volleyball police? Get out of here. Shut up. Go somewhere with that. Miranda has a cool clip of you playing in, I believe it's Huntington.
Yeah,
this is Beach. Courtesy of Mission Beach. Nice. Get a little bit of volume on that. Let's see if we can hear it. This is you and Cabbage against,
Oh, I should have had that dig. Come on, Cabbage.
Oh, that's Nichimura. There it goes.
I'm actually, I can't believe I've yet to see a single serve. They obviously don't know the scouting report. Why are they going every ball that way?
Who knows?
Serve the young guy that jumps 40 inches. Nice shot at him.
There it is. Cool.
This was an interesting match. And the reason being is because Marty and Adam were friends and played together, and took a 7th actually in Chicago, I think the year before that.
Yeah.
And, I think in that match, which again, we just kind of watched the first 15 points. And again, if I were me, I would have served me, but, and they keep serving Adam for some reason. But I think it was one of those games where, Marty was the big brother, Adam was kind of the little brother scenario and thing. And we just didn't, this is a pretty good draw, to be honest with you. Marty Lorenz, phenomenal athlete, but the other guy's a little bit shorter. Just didn't put it together. So they're an ace. Good right serve.
There. Yeah, Oceanside, right? Just aim right between the eyes.
Yeah. And there it is, Adam.
Nice.
Bounce the pier.
Yeah, you didn't like getting caught high on that serve receive.
Yeah. Yeah. That was I think it was a little bit of a little brother, kind of big brother scenario. They end up winning that match. So nice. Yeah. But I think that was my last AVP. I think you literally just pulled up the last AVP. I think I played him.
That was in 2015. That was actually the year before I moved here.
Oh, cool.
Cool. I'm gonna do another file after this. Yeah. So pretty cool, man. And you're right. It is a very fortunate situation. Talk about like Forrest Gump, right place, right time. You know what I'm saying? Arizona. Get a chance to play together with the right generation, right? Like,
100%.
Like how old is Matt Olson? Probably the same age, right?
He's a little bit younger than me, but when I moved here from Arizona, I moved here in '98. I made my first AVP in 2001, and I played with a guy, and some of the people in the community know him. His name was Anthony Medell. Okay, that's how I broke through. Nice. Again, by the way, I've said this to anybody who will listen. He was the single greatest athlete. Not beach volleyball player, but he's the single greatest athlete I ever played with him.
What's his name again?
Anthony Medell. He ended up going on to a couple of finals with Fred Souza. He was on NBC a number of times. The kid was ridiculous. 6'3", had a 44-inch vertical indoor. 6'3", but his wingspan was 6'6", so he had long arms. Jeez. He is the single greatest athlete. His quick twitch, and we played from 01 to 04 together and played a number of main draws, won a bunch of tournaments. It was a lot of fun. And again, what was cool was watching players like that I got to play with that went on to go do really cool things. I mean, literally in 04, he was on NBC, I think, 2 or 3 times in the finals, which was pretty neat. That's cool. Played Metzger and Wong in a final, which was really cool.
Yes.
And so that's kind of how I got my start.
That's so cool.
That was fun. It was fun. Kid from Arizona playing on the AVP. It was pretty awesome.
So talk about, let's do a lightning round question because you stumbled onto, we'll go split screen on this lightning round question. So Miranda, what was the first question they had for us?
Do you want me to do timed?
Yeah, we're going to do 60 seconds.
Well, what are the rules of engagement here?
Oh, you get 60 seconds. I get 60 seconds.
Okay, all right, yeah. Cool.
All right.
Is there a winner and a loser? Or?
Yes.
Okay.
All right, the first question. Who on the local scene is a really good player that nobody's talked about yet?
You go first.
I'd like to go, with my 60 seconds, I'd like to go with Zepper Dew. When I met him last year, he was training with Frank Field, and Frank Field flew up from Rhode Island. Just needed a coach. Understood I did some good things, and everyone I kind of knew. Like I knew who Frank Field was. I knew Jeff because Jeff I previously coached. Adam Roberts I've known from New York because he spent some time in New York for a long time. Yeah. And I was just like, who is this kid? And they're like, he's 19 years old, right? But his face said like 2 lifetimes. So I'm like, okay, obviously this kid grew up and his parents played or he just grew up around here. And this kid cut his teeth. And I still don't know a lot about him, but I do know that 2 things. Him and Frank didn't do very well. And a lot of that was on, as a coach, I always put a lot of that on me and I accept responsibility because I'm good. I'm thick skinned. But he made the Manhattan Beach main draw most recently in 2023, last year. And
he kicked my ass in the 3rd round.
Yeah. And oh, okay. And,
that was my reward for. Again,
left.
I love when I come out of retirement. I get my ass kicked by an 18-year-old. So much fun.
So watch out for this kid in the future. He's got that kind of quasi Rafu talent, but he really needs to be careful. He really needs to take care of the little things. You know what I'm saying? Ball gets shot to the net. Don't get into the habit of just running to the net and doing this. Go make the second move if you have to. Shoulders to the pole if it's out of system. This way your margin for error is out and in. Yeah. As opposed to doing this where your margin for error is tight, where the hitter has to do this, or behind the hitter's head, which you've seen in so many
Sure.
games. As far, you know what I'm saying? I'm not saying the kid don't have skills and can't do this end set accurately. I'm just saying, in games where it's 19 up, tensions are high, and butt cheeks get tight, you're opening a door for something I call the margin for error. Where this way the margin for error is out and in, where any decent hitter can just jump this way or that way, you know what I'm saying, depending on the wind. So, but he's got mad skill. He's got a jump serve. Wow, Miranda's laughing because that was like more than 60 seconds.
Way more than 60 seconds.
2 minutes 30 seconds.
Do I win by default anyways? Like,
he's like, do I even have to go now?
Yeah. So hard for me to pick just one player.
All right,
but
let's start yours.
yeah, hard for me to pick just one player. So here are the players right now that again, like you, I wouldn't say I know a ton about them, but the one player I've kept my eye on the most is Wyatt Harrison.
Right.
He's in the USA program, which is great. So Zephyr is in the USA program, which I think is a step in the right direction. But there's not one hole in Wyatt's game, right? So he can block,
Wow.
he can block, he can dig, he can hand set. He's got size. He can leap. So I think Wyatt Harrison is probably, and again, I'm fortunate enough, as you know, I'm still pretty good friends with Scott Davenport. So Scott is nice enough to train me every once in a while on a Wednesday after USA practice. So I get there early and I watch the players. Always have my eye on him. I think Wyatt is a great player on the local scene. They got a kid named Derek in that program that is a beast. He's 6'9", jumps like 30-something inches. Derek Bradford, I think is his name. Plays with Charlie Sergio. So, yeah. I think that kid's going to be ridiculous. Here's a guy, though. I know he's not like on the scene, and I'll end with this. But Chase Frischman. I don't know why Chase Frischman doesn't get better partners. He is literally.
You know what? We look at each other like you're right.
Yeah.
We leave that. Maybe we'll leave that question out there. Jeremy Carlin said, "Be awesome today." But yeah. Wow.
So young players I'm watching: Derek, Wyatt Harrison. Why Chase Frischman? And in full disclosure, I know Chase pretty well, and hung out with him and have trained with him and stuff like that. He's ridiculous. He's just one big, huge, fast twitch muscle. He's a little shorter than Anthony Medell when I played with Anthony, but equally as gifted. And I don't know why he doesn't get better partners. I'm like, if you put him with Phil, they would have won it. And maybe I'm just making this up in my head. I think Chase Frischman and Phil Dalhouser would have won 2 or 3 tournaments last year.
Absolutely. Well, Phil, if you remember in 2022, he won one with 3 different partners, right? He won with
that's my point. Yeah.
Yeah, and he could easily do it with Chase. He did it with Patterson, which is pretty easy because they're vets. He
did it with Benesh.
Andy Benesh, which could have been problematic but wasn't. And he did it with Taylor Crabb, which I think on a domestic scene that's like shooting fish in a barrel, right? It's not not like you're asking him and Taylor to beat freaking Ahmed and Sharif, right?
100%. So, and you're giving me, and you're saying kind of local scene. I mean, we just named 3 guys who won tournaments with that are all phenomenal.
That's what I'm saying.
USA athletes.
That's what I'm saying. Phil and Chase would have.
You're telling me like, hey, who do you think on the local scene? This guy Andy Benesh and Miles Partain. They're really. I think they got something going. Like that's not a sneaky pick, but I think
the sneaky one is Chase Frischman.
It's Chase Frischman. Yeah,
100%.
Yeah, 100%. I really do believe that. And then again, for young guys that really haven't really accomplished much, watch Wyatt Harrison and this kid Derek. I think it'd be great.
Do you know what changed the men's scene, which made them better? Because for a while they were struggling for a little bit, but now I think 2023, 2024, they're back. And they're back because of 2 words, Miles Partain. They're back because of Miles Partain, and I'll tell you why. Miles Partain is probably not even 25 years old, right? He made his first main draw in 2017.
Is he 21 or 22?
Yeah. Well,
I don't even know.
No, let's do the math. His first main draw was 15 years old, 2017. So however that math works out.
He's 22.
Right, he's 22.
No. 2015?
2017. He was 15 years old, and in 2017, he did it with his brother, Marcus, who was 17.
God, I didn't even know that. So that means, so it means he's 22.
I know because I coached that first match. It was against Jeff Samuels and Brunstein.
You can barely get a beer with the guy now.
Right.
Yeah. That's crazy.
But I remember when he won Atlanta, Cameron Irwin was like, they're giving him a White Claw, but he can't drink. It was like her. I thought it was like her Hollywood moment, because it came. I'm like, wow, it wasn't like. That was like not manufacturer commentary. That came from this, but he can't drink. What are you doing? It was just so perfect.
I got a hot take for you on Miles Partain.
Please. Go ahead.
And this is a guy that I don't know anything about him other than he is a spectacular talent. And shout out to John Mesco, because John Mesco told me like 3 years ago, you should watch out for this kid named Miles. And I was just coming back into volleyball. I'd taken 5 years completely off, didn't touch a ball, get back on the sand, was playing with John Mesco, says, you need to watch for this kid named Miles Partain. This was like 3 years ago. right? And I'm like, Miles Partain, I haven't heard, of course I hadn't heard any of these names. But here's my hot take on that. All right? And I don't want to get like hate mail from people on social media, and I don't want my text. For those of you people who have my number to text me.
This is the option podcast, so
Woo!
You're already in it.
Yeah, so
you showing up here already is going to get you hate.
I wonder if Miles Partain doesn't take a break after the Olympics. My hot take is this. That guy, if you're telling me he was 15, I didn't know he was 15, but if you're saying he was 15 and he's making a main draw and he's been this intense
with his brother,
which is crazy.
Who was 17.
Wow. And he's been doing it for this long at this high level. And he's doing it at a level that, you know, you and I can only dream about, right? So he's in the Olympics. He's watching film. He's in the gym. He's living, eating, breathing volleyball. Plus he went to UCLA, played indoor, right?
Won in PSF, most valuable player.
Okay. So didn't know that either. So
as a setter.
So
hitting on two, hitting with his left.
Yeah. My guess is that he might be burnt out. And I don't know him at all.
When the Olympics come, he will be.
Yeah, I mean, you can imagine that.
Because it's up here too, right?
Yeah, he's not, and listen, he's not 28, 29, more mature. Like, this is kind of weird. Has Miles ever had a girlfriend? Like, has he ever been out to the clubs and gone party? Have you ever been out and got bottle service with him in Las Vegas?
Miles is asexual. I think he's like self-reproductive.
My point is, I don't know Miles Partain. I don't know what his values and his goals are. I probably shouldn't even speak on this, but my hot take about young players like that are that talented, and he is otherworldly. He's literally otherworldly. I mean, we watched him practice 16th. I'm like, this kid is ridiculous. You saw him in Seaside, a couple years ago, going on 2 on every single ball. He's unbelievable. And I just wonder, like, you hope he doesn't get burnt out because he's got he could do this for another 20 years. So I wonder, what do you think?
All right, here's the thing.
That's my hot take, and I don't know anything about him. But I worry about a guy that young, that much pressure. What you said
was segue perfection. We should be podcast partners.
All right.
The reason why I said Miles Partain is because of this. And Moran has heard me say this millions of times, but it bears repeating. Are there people that jump higher than him? The answer is yes. Are there people that hit harder than him? The answer is yes. Are there people who are more athletic than him? Until recently, I would have said hell yeah. He was this gangly kid, but now he's like a little bit more of a man. And
he's a stud.
No, but as far as checking all the boxes of him not being better than most elite athletes in volleyball in any of those categories, right? Is he a better higher jumper? Is he a harder hitter? Is he this? Is he that? And you keep saying no, but there he is, and there they are. There they are. These young guys who hit hard, who jump high, who think they got it all figured out. Maybe they'll listen to their coach. Maybe they won't. Maybe they'll train. Maybe they won't. Right? They've been at it for a decade. This kid comes out of nowhere. Hermosa Beach with his brother. He wins a qualifier match. Oh my God, hey, these kids are good. And all of a sudden this crowd starts getting bigger, right? Then they beat Moran Placek, who later became his coach. Yeah. Right? They beat them third round. Wasn't even a play-in. So that's the testament to how tough their bracket was. Because that wasn't even a play-in. That was the third round. And then they make the main draw. And by the time they hit the main draw, I'm warning Jeff Samuels. I watched these kids yesterday. You have to, and he's like, I heard about him. And I'm like, Michael. And Michael's just like, I don't want to talk about it. And it's in front of the hotel. And they have beach chairs set up. Oh, can you pull up Miles Partain and Brunsing against Samuels or whatever? And they have beach chairs set up on top of the bathroom. So what it looks like an NVL center court. Okay, because you have chairs, you have people standing above the chairs, and behind them are a row of beach chairs on top of, and you can draw the picture because we know Hermosa Beach. And people watching on the balconies of their hotel because it's in front of the beach house hotel. And it's on the Strand, so people walking by on the Strand stop. And
how do we get more of that in sport? But we'll talk about that.
And here this kid is, 15 years old, who literally caught up and zoomed past everybody else who thought they trained hard, who thought they were as deserving. What the hell was he doing that they weren't? They're all examining that, and because of that, they're all following that lead. Hold that thought because we can talk the same time we're running this video. You can pull it up right now. Derek Zimmerman says, "What's up?" He says, "Old partner, D-Zim from Louisiana."
Another guy I won a tournament with.
Yes,
I won a tournament with Derek. And by the way, a guy that carried me in that tournament. Yeah, so we're seeing a theme here.
Oh, he came on that podcast. He was the only episode I took my podcast on the road. I actually drove to 15 different cities, and I drove to New Orleans, and he and I did a podcast together. He is fantastic.
Yeah, DZ.
Yeah, he took me out, showed me a good place to get some whiskey. You know what I'm saying? He's a real one. So this is the setup. Look behind you, right?
Yeah, people sitting on the bathroom
Yes, you see it,
at
right?
13th Street. Yeah.
Do you see it?
Yeah.
Yeah. This is just
Who wins this match?
we did. Sorry, Jeff.
Yeah, who's we? I don't see you on
Yeah.
the court.
I'm not. No. No, but I
Oh, so Samuel?
No, but Jeff and I were coaching in the
Okay.
summer, and I was also coaching for him a little
That's
bit. I
awesome.
was listed as his coach, but I really enjoyed being around behind the camera. And
So Miles is 15 in this
no,
video.
but do you know why we won this match? 2 words: scoring freeze.
Oh, they had the freeze, huh?
They were up match point, 14-11, game 3, and Jeff and Michael just kind of figured it out. And you know what? It's a testament to their toughness too, because when you have a 15 and 17-year-old playing this game, who are the fans rooting for?
Yeah, they're rooting for the kids. I mean, by the way, that was every match on the NVL. I don't think I had a single fan. Yeah.
Yeah, Brunsing didn't get it.
Yeah,
When
yeah.
I walked up, I said, "Hey, Michael, I'm your one fan," and he got all offended, and I'm like, "You don't understand, but you're gonna." I said, "You're gonna understand in a minute."
Yeah. I mean, I'd be curious to see if he. I hope he does, because he's such a stud. I would be curious to see if he doesn't burn out.
I will only say this: if he carries himself mentally the same way he does physically, I think he won't. I think.
It's such a grind.
How many
though.
times have you ever seen him win a tournament and not sweat? He won the Huntington Beach Open with Andy Benesh. Not this huge roll around in the sand celebration. Boom, pound, hug, shook hands like it was a normal day, like he had bigger fish to fry. And I'm looking to see if his t-shirt's wet. I'm looking for a bead of sweat to drip off his shin. No sweat in this kid's palms.
I wonder,
the
though,
kid doesn't sweat.
I would almost wonder if that's like he's so intense. I don't know. I'd like to spend a little time with him, because he's a fascinating athlete, and he's so good at what he does at such a young age. I'd be curious. We'll see. That was a hot take with zero sources.
I'm gonna beat his little ass because he went on the Sandcast after he told me he don't do interviews, but I get it. You know,
Hey, that's
I get it.
That's between you guys. So
no, but he's a California kid. He probably got bullied onto that. They're like, they're from California. You got to do that. So I got that.
All right.
But I did get his first interview. And his coach was like, he's shy, so we have to put players next to him. And that's on YouTube somewhere, but you're not going to find it. And what it looked like, he had 2 15-year-olds standing there like this. Like hands like they're strapped, and he's in the middle doing the interview, and he's got his friends, his high school buddies, with sunglasses. It looked like I was interviewing someone that had bodyguards. It was fantastic. There goes Stephen Roshitz.
So what's the next lightning round? Since I already obviously won.
No shot, Miles burns out. Stephen Roshitz says no shot, Miles burns out.
Man, I hope Stephen's right. I really do. And we want to see him. We won the '96 Olympics and the inaugural Olympics in Atlanta, and I'm obviously an enormous Karch fan, and I'd love to see that legacy continue with the USA being on top of the sport.
Yeah.
And so you're going to need a Miles Partain to make a couple of runs, and some of these young guys that are developing in the USA program to develop, because otherwise, again, the world is putting so many resources into volleyball that we don't put into it.
Did you read my script? Because that's the next lightning round question.
I did not. All right, let's keep going.
All right,
what's the next lightning
let's go
round?
split screen.
Let's load it
We go
up.
lightning round. Guys, I'm testing my new live stream equipment. So if it works, it works. If it doesn't, I'll just turn it off and reset.
And I promise I do promise that I'll go first this time.
Okay.
Go. Yeah.
And
All right.
keep it in the 2 minutes.
Yeah. No, 60 seconds. Here we go.
All right.
Wait, we got the 60 seconds? We got
yeah,
it set up? All right,
we got
cool.
it ready
Let's
and
do it.
loaded.
Well, do you start once you get the question out?
Yeah, I'm going to give you some time
right,
to
go ahead.
process. Okay. Which U.S. team has the best shot at winning gold in Paris?
Now, this could be men or women.
Kelly Chang
Go.
and Syracuse.
Go ahead. Why?
Kelly Chang and Syracuse.
Talk about them.
Yeah, so I think the Olympics, we all know the Olympics is a watered down version of elite tournament, right? So because not every single great team in the country, in the world, gets to play in the Olympics, right? It's a limited field. So I think on the women's side, there's really only 3 teams that could probably challenge them. They've obviously won a world championships. They've proven they could do it at the top, right, at the top level. And I think with the right draw, and it always comes down to draws in the Olympics. And we all saw Lucena and Dalhausser have to play Alisson and Bruno for the 5th place match. It should have been the gold medal match, right? I mean, yeah, like you're shaking your head.
That's crazy.
So that's what it comes down to the Olympics. It comes down to the draw. And I really believe on the men's side, there's more hurdles. There's more hangups on the men's side for someone like Benesh and Partain, where you can get tripped up in like a quarterfinal match. I think for Kelly and Sarah, they give us the best chance to win gold.
I like that. With 3 seconds to
Right?
spare, let's hear that horn. There goes the horn. All right, my 60 seconds.
Give it to
Now,
me.
considering that we have men's and women's teams, and we could choose any of the 4 teams,
Yep.
2 per gender. Trevor and Theo are my favorite team, and they might be ready, but I'm not sure. Miles Partain, like you just previously mentioned, can easily be tripped up, which goes to Kelly Chang and Sarah Hughes. Kelly Chang and Sarah Hughes are one of those people that ride their wave, but the problem is big waves crash, and I really thought that them winning the championship was their high point, and it's all downhill from there unless they can find
Totally going to be a Kristen. Totally going to be a Nos.
unless they can find another big wave to ride. And this is why I'm going with Nuss and Cloth. You know why?
I knew
Because
it. I knew it.
here's Nuss and Cloth on a bad day. They finished 5th. That's a bad day for them.
That's
right?
that's literally Sarah and Kelly. A bad tournament.
But did you forget after the World Championships, the tournament that had the biggest money were accounted a week later, Nuss and Cloth won that one. And they won that quite easily. They won it 2-0, right? You forget that the 3-time Chicago champions and beat the brakes off of Chang and Hughes to do that, okay? Now, we're not talking about deep sand where people have an advantage and train, and where these people just train exclusively in Louisiana. We're talking about neutral ground. We're talking about Paris, France. We're talking about people who actually been to Paris, France, who are familiar with it. Make mine Taryn Cloth and Sarah and Kristen Nuss the best defender in the world, and one of the better blockers in the world.
Yeah, I mean, I think. By the way, wouldn't it be great if they, from a bracket standpoint, ended up in the gold medal match?
Come on,
that'd be awesome.
I'll tell you what. If that happens, we coming right back here.
Sure, I'm in.
We coming. We're gonna do a lot. We're gonna do a watch party.
I would do a watch
You
party
heard
for
though?
that.
We're gonna do it. We're gonna.
If we had those two teams,
when that comes on.
Yep.
Everybody hear that?
And then you and I would have a bet.
Yes.
And I'm going to take Hughes, and you're going to take. And by the way, you'd probably be favored in that match.
Yeah.
I'll take points. I'll take a spread on that.
Is there a bias on my part? I have to be forthcoming, and I have to disclose that I do have a personal bias, not against Sarah Hughes and Chang, but for Nuss and Cloth. When Kristen Nuss, her brother played. I don't know if you remember, Pete. Was it Pete Nuss? Derek Zimmerman, if you're listening, tell me who our brother played. He played in the main draw. Derek is listening right now.
Yeah.
But when no one knew who she was loyal to her people. Everybody knows who she was. She's still loyal to that same group of fans who were down from day one.
It's awesome.
She treats everybody the same. She's like a New Yorker with a Louisiana accent. It's like she treats everyone the same across the board, and that's redeeming for this sport that requires this, not this fakeness and this phony humility, but two girls who, by the way, tell USA Volleyball thanks but no thanks. The lieutenant governor of Louisiana called them and said they're fully sponsored by the state of Louisiana. So they have a state-of-the-art facility at LSU. Yeah. They have Drew Hamilton, right? Russell Brock, former USC guy, was their coach at LSU.
You are way over 60 seconds. Yeah. I just want to make sure.
No, this is called spillover.
Oh, is this spillover?
It's an extra 5 minutes.
You ain't never been on those sports talk show, man? Miranda. Rookies.
And by the way, at some point in time, we should talk about the future of the AVP, because you said something right there. You said the lieutenant governor of Louisiana is sponsoring them, fully sponsoring them. And that's a phenomenal segue, by the way, into the future of the AVP, which something that I pitched in 2010 at the AVP offices on Rosecrans. Not going to mention who was in that meeting. And I said, you guys should sell franchises. You should sell franchises. And the model you should follow is MLS, Major League Lacrosse, NFL. AVP becomes the shield. And the reason you want to do it inside the AVP is they got a 40-year-old brand, right? So they already have a brand.
Yes.
But I am so confused.
And it's 3 magical letters.
Yeah. Why are we stuck in this? Let's go get a promoter in Louisiana or a promoter in Chicago that's going to flip part of the bill. Let's go build courts on North Avenue Beach, and let's hope that the athletes can get out there and play. This literally, I am so confused why we're still stuck in this. And guess what? Bankrupt in 2010. Been sold, 4 times since 2010. Nobody can get the model right. The model is MLS soccer. Literally MLS soccer. What you do is you start with 6 teams. You get 3 men, 3 women, right? 3 men's teams, 3 women's teams. It's best 2 out of 3, just like the format they do for NCAA. You go into, let's say, 6, maybe 8 markets, and you can get really rich people, not the lieutenant governor of Louisiana, but you go get companies, which, by the way, look at LAFC. 6 years ago, started here in Los Angeles. Will Ferrell, Tony Robbins, Nomar Garcia-Parra, Mia Hamm, they all own a portion of the team. So you go sell the franchise. They're responsible for the facilities. They're responsible for the players' salaries. They're responsible for training, kind of like what the lieutenant governor is doing for Taryn and Kristen. And you go, and the AVP goes, we're going to go sell franchises for this new sport, and we're going to go own the summer. We're going to go own the summer. Not this, what they're doing this year. They're going September, October, November. They're going a winter series against the NFL and college football. Who the hell is showing up to watch on a Saturday? Who the hell is showing up to watch an AVP tournament in the middle of winter in an arena, which by the way, they got to put them in arenas because the weather's going to be so crappy. Instead, go own the summer. Every single college has facilities now because of the NCAA women's sports.
They really do. Yeah.
And let me ask you this. Do the women's teams play in the summer?
No.
School's out.
They play spring.
Do you think those facilities are available?
Yeah.
So if I was in Phoenix, Arizona, I get it. It's really hot, but I was going to put a night series together in June, and I was going to go to the ASU, and I was going to use their facilities. Already built, check. Already have facilities, check. And oh, by the way, we've got the dude that owns F1 and owns the Phoenix Suns, and he put $250,000 into a team. And then you got a couple of real estate moguls in Arizona. They put in a team. And then guess what? The athletes go and live, just like Kristen and Taryn are living in Louisiana. They go live in Phoenix. And for the summer, I'm going to pay you, which, by the way, this would blow all of the athletes' minds. I'm going to pay you, if you're a bottom-tier athlete on our team, you're our third team, I'm going to pay you $45,000 as a base salary. My highest team, my number one draft pick, Miles Partain and Andy Benesh. And by the way, you draft individual players and you put the teams together. So you have you actually have an AVP draft with a combine.
Yeah.
We're going to go test your vertical out of the sand. We're going to test your 3-cone drill. We're going to test, right? You actually do a combine. Just do this. We are making this so hard. The AVP is making this so hard. The model is dead. The new model is like pickleball. They're selling pickleball franchises. You know who owns a pickleball franchise? Tom freaking Brady. You think he's gonna? You don't think he'd throw a couple of dollars? You don't think he'd throw a couple dollars into beach volleyball and then go own the summer? Why are we doing this still, dude? I told you on the beach. I would throw $100,000. I would go throw $100,000 to be a 2% owner of the Los Angeles Spikers or the Phoenix Blockers or whatever the hell they are. Go start with like 6 franchises. Get these top athletes. Go make a draft. You're going to be, Jason DeVos is going to be my general manager.
New York.
Yeah.
I could do the New York draft.
Dude,
I nominate myself. Or Corey Mays, who just joined us.
What are we doing here? Like, this is mind-boggling to me. And yet, MLS, one of the fastest growing franchise assets in American sports, right? Average value of MLS franchise has gone up something like 400% in the last 3 years. You don't think beach volleyball, and by the way, let me show you the draft. Here's what the draft looks like. You ready for this? Here's the draft looks like. And I'm going to throw some names out. So I put all the athletes down. They got this heritage series, all that, but we all know who the top players are, right?
Yeah.
So here's what I'm going to do for the draft. I'm going to go take every guy in the draft, and they're going to have their shirt off. And Jake Urrutia, who's got 19 abs, and Jeremy Casebear, who's got a goddamn 12-pack.
Did you say 19? You got like a little
down
there.
They're going to be on the screen. They're going to have their sponsor hat on, right? They're going to have their sponsor hat on. They're going to be in the draft. Hey, Jake Urrutia out of Jeremy Casebear out of Honolulu, whatever. And you're going to put them up on the thing. Then I'm going to take the women, and I know this is going to sound crazy, but you're going to put them in bikinis, and that's how you're going to show up to the draft. And we're going to draft these athletes. Then you have a draft night where your top 12 athletes on each side, men and women, they show up in Manhattan Beach, California. And guess what? People would buy fucking tickets for that, dude. Yeah. They would buy tickets for that because guess what? We know there's enough of a fan base, especially with the NCAA women's coming out of the, I mean, dude, it's like, I keep hearing this as the fastest growing sport in NCAA. I don't know if that's true or not. But that's what everyone tells me.
No, indoor is.
Indoors, okay.
Well, indoor is number 3 in viewership.
There was 100,000 people showed up in Nebraska.
Right.
You're telling me you wouldn't want to draft one of those girls into the new AVP?
100%.
And maybe she gets drafted by, I don't know, a franchise in Kansas City. Yeah. Why are we making this so tough? And what's crazy?
We got a great idea. Let's eliminate double hit for second hit. Let's spice up the sport. Let's make the sport better, boys.
It's not even a rules issue, man. It's working in NCAA. Now, 5 teams is too much. And I've said this for you can't have 5 pro teams and do best 3 out of 5, but you can do best 2 out of 3. You have your 1 team, your 2 team, your 3 team.
For beach, right.
For beach in each city.
Okay.
And guess what? We don't have to build the facilities anymore. We can set it up in Manhattan Beach. We can set it up at all the colleges. And we can build something where we own the summer. The summer sucks. The summer, summer sucks. I mean, you're wearing a Yankees hat, so I apologize. But, dude, baseball is boring.
It's going to be different for me.
Baseball's boring. It just is.
Yeah.
Right? It's 162 games in the middle of the summer. I take my kids there as soon as I'm done with my Wetzel's pretzel, my Dodger dog, and I get them the little ice cream in the baseball cap. They're done, dude. They're done by the 6th inning. I take them to the beach. I take them to a sand area. Guess what they're doing? They're going down to the water in between matches, right? They're going in there. I don't know. If I'm in Tempe, Arizona, they're going to Crumble's Cookies, which is right around the corner from ASU's facility, and they're getting a crumble cookie. Like, let's stop making this so overly complicated. Let's follow the same model that every other pro franchise is doing. NFL doesn't own the players.
This is mind-blowing.
They own the shield.
Right.
So you started this because you said Lieutenant Governor is sponsoring Taryn and Kristen.
No, I'm saying that. I only said that because I'm not a big believer in training groups. If you have good consolidated coaching, you stay with that coach. And if you want to do training groups like 6 times a year, fly out here or whatever, test what you learn. Like, look, Sharif, Ahmed, they don't do training groups. The Norwegians, right? The Swedes. You got guys that don't even have a tan.
You are proving my point.
The best
by the
teams
way,
in the world.
Every single one of those teams is literally sponsored by their governments. If we're not going to sponsor it, since we have a pro series, you just put the sponsors. By the way, if anybody knows Tom Brady,
yes,
can somebody get me
Jorge Martinez? I think he knows Tom Brady. What's up,
if somebody knows Tom Brady, what we want to do is we want to get on the phone with him and say, would you be interested in throwing in $100,000 on a franchise and you get a pick, Tom? You want to put it in Tampa Bay? You want to put it in Miami? I don't give a shit. But I guarantee he'd throw $100,000 in. Celebrities are throwing money into pickleball.
It's true.
Pickleball. And I'm not knocking pickleball. I've heard it's a ton of fun.
I am.
But as a sport, it is a sport for old people.
Ass,
I'm talking about a sport with people with their shirts off that look good, that are in shape, that are doing things that normal human beings, any normal human being can pick up a pickleball paddle and play pretty competitive pickleball. I tell you what, you go bring me an average Joe off the street and I will smoke them at 47 with 2 bad knees in volleyball.
100%.
Because it's so much harder.
Yeah.
Right? And that's my point is the AVP has this incredible brand recognition and they could capitalize on it if they would just get on board with the franchise model. And the timing is perfect. Oh, it's not. Timing's perfect.
The timing is perfect because it's the first time in 5 years that I can concede that the men, as far as training and preparing for the seasons physically, mentally, have kept their promises. All right? Look, I've been in Hermosa Beach and I've seen people cross the Strand, right? And I've seen them wait 8 seconds for a guy to do his freaking pre-jump serve ritual and miss. And then the next play, right? This guy is doing this and he misses. And then the person watching who was interested moves on. All right? So you're talking about taking care of all the bells and whistles and all those things that put these people in a position to play or whatever and this and that. But the product got to be dope. I have a question before I even go on my tirade for Miranda, for you and me.
Yeah.
Have you ever heard an idea like this until today? Isn't this amazing? Have you ever heard anything like? I'm blown away because everything you're saying is so right. To quote Chris Tucker, can't be more righter. Okay.
And here's
Miranda,
my thing.
have you ever heard this idea until today?
I have not.
This is amazing, dude.
Well, thank you.
This is amazing.
Because here's the other thing, Jason, and I think you'll totally understand this. What we're doing is not working.
Yes.
And it's been broken for years.
And I don't have the answers. That's why I'm very happy to have this conversation because I don't know what would work. I just knew what wasn't working.
And this is not working.
But the idea, this is the first time that a guy like me that's like, I don't have all the answers and I'm not an expert, but my eye test says this isn't working. Can somebody help me? Someone help me with an idea. Enter John Moran. Holy freaking sugar honey iced tea.
Well, thank you. You're being very kind, but I do.
No, but I had to ask her to make sure.
Yeah.
Like if this is an obvious thing and I'm the only dummy in the room that's hearing this for the first time like a goofball, then I need to know. But she's got a pulse on everything. And so I asked her if she ever heard this idea before, which is fantastic.
And here's the other thing about the franchise model that I think people...
Miranda, I'm yelling into the mic.
Yeah, here's the thing about the franchise model that's getting completely overlooked is the franchises that they're building in something like MLS, for example, are incredibly expensive. Right, if you think about the operating capital for something like an MLS team, right, 20,000 square foot or 20,000 seat facility in downtown LA, they had to build that from scratch. The infrastructure, right, the upfront capital is so much lower to start a franchise model for the AVP. The athletes already exist. They're already playing in tournaments.
And keeping their promises.
They
look so good right now.
This is an easy rollover. And by the way, why not try it next year? If you spent the next 12 months, and I mean, again, I know that things like XFL, they got The Rock and whatever. I guarantee, like, we could go wrap your arms around somebody like Kerry Walsh, get her back in the mix. You don't think Kerry Walsh could pitch a franchise in Southern California to some investors? She probably could if you could just get her back on board. There's enough. What I'm saying is,
if she was going to, she would have.
Well, I don't think this model's been brought up to her. But my point is there's enough celebrities, there's enough star power, there's enough people that love volleyball.
Right.
I mean, you and I both know a couple of guys that live on the Strand in multi-million-dollar homes that love volleyball. If they saw an opportunity to invest in an asset, a growing asset like American professional sports, which is one of the fastest growing non-traditional asset classes, they would invest in that. But there's no investment back when you throw a tournament up in Chicago as a promoter. There's no investment back. There's no tangible asset that grows over time. There's no equity in the business. There's no equity in a single event at North Shore Beach. There's equity in a franchise. And so I think, and we know enough people, and there's enough people around the sport. I'll give you another example, and I'll stop. I promise I'll stop.
No,
Let me give you the final example.
This is the one episode I need someone to talk more than me.
Yeah, and I don't even know how many total people are listening.
We got people dropping in and out.
We got people dropping in.
They know you and they listen in.
Well, I appreciate it. So here's what I was going to say. Of the people that are watching, who's going to the Dinosaur tournament in Hawaii? Okay, the Dinosaur tournament.
Only the diehards.
The diehards, right? When you go to the Dino tournament, watch how many ex-professional players are being paid huge dollars to show up to Kauai for a 3-day tournament, right? And they're getting paid huge dollars. Those same people, those same private equity individuals, those same business CEO individuals, those same guys and girls, real estate moguls, they would be willing to throw 100, 250, 300,000. That's chump change. That is couch money for a lot of those individuals. They would throw it into a franchise if they knew there was equity.
It's money they burn in the fireplace.
100%.
Yeah, to keep the wood burning. That's the money they throw in the fireplace.
Anyways,
no, I think for me, my problem has always been like, okay, there's a bunch of guys with good ideas, and I want to invest it. I got the money. It sounds like a great idea. What do the players look like, right? Then you take a look at what the players look like. 5 years ago, I'm like, I'm not putting my neck out for none of these people. But now I can say that.
Yeah.
Now I can say that. Remember I said this whole thing the men started with Miles Partain. The women started with the NCAA. Because once it became beach volleyball became an NCAA sport,
right,
all of the club sizes have tripled. All of these glorified babysitters in the South Bay got off their asses and started coaching because they were being out-coached by coaches from the Midwest. Well, dude, we're out here how are we losing to people that don't even have a tan, So now all of a sudden, they're doing their job. Now, and women, for indoors are already been the third most viewed sport in every college network. So Big Ten networks only behind men's basketball and men's football.
You're only
SEC network third.
You're only proving my point.
Yes, but that's what I'm saying. The tide is right, and we always knew that women would keep their promise because there's scholarship money and there's investment, and all the club sizes have tripled. And girls stopped moonlighting beach from indoor, and now you have exclusive beach players that started around 2018. That those coaches behind you, endless summer, right? We had 13 commitments out of a 19-person group, right, which we previously mentioned, and now I believe in the idea. Because I've always believed in the idea. I take that back. I've always believed in the idea. I just didn't support the product until the last 2 years. I believe Miles Partain and Andy can beat Mullen Sorum. I think the path to the championship goes through the Swedes or the Norwegians.
Yeah, and by the way, going all the way back to the original question about the gold medal, that you just nailed a reason why I think it's going to be tougher for the U.S. men, right? If you lock in with the Swedes in the quarterfinals, it's a tough matchup. You lock in with Norway. You
got to beat one of them to beat the gold.
You do.
You have to beat at least one of them.
You have to beat one to beat the gold. The challenge, I think, is on that side, they're going to have to be like 2 or 3. The way the bracket is lined up, and just traditionally with the men, we've always had bad luck on the bracket.
And what if Qatar catches fire, right?
Yeah, 100%.
Qatar beat the brakes off of both of our men's teams the last
100%.
Olympics, right?
Yeah.
They beat I thought Triborn, as far as like a last minute sub for Jay Gibb, was great. He had a 90% side out percentage.
No,
this is the guy who didn't even train with Jay Gibb, who had a 90% side out percentage.
And here's what I was going to tell you about the product, which I understand, and I think I think there's almost 2 buckets, and we have to delineate between the two, which is you're talking about an ownership, an attitude, and a level of accountability on the men's side that you you didn't necessarily appreciate. You didn't, the athletes are putting in the time, and then you obviously had that on the women's side. Now you feel like it's coalesced, and both groups, right? Both men and women are putting
It's the perfect storm.
But I think the product's always been there. Now there's been a gap. You know, I was super fortunate. My rookie class, I literally played in the 2000 Santa Barbara finals when the AVP used to do an AVP Next tour, and the finals was John Moran, Anthony Medell versus Nick Lucena and Phil Dalhauser.
Right.
Winner of that tournament gets 4 automatic berths in 2001.
I remember. Okay.
I'm sorry. So it's 2001. 2001. Winner of that gets 4 automatic bids to 2002.
Okay.
Okay. The finals, we lose 16-14 in the third to Dalhauser and Lucena. The right team absolutely won. Phil Dalhauser went on to be the Beijing Beast, all that stuff. But my point is, I was lucky enough that was literally my rookie class. And you had the Casey Jennings, the Furbringers, the Gibbs, all these guys. Great players. Casey Patterson, all these players. The gap has been, there's no money, dude. So the product is still really good. There's so many great players on the men's side, but none of them are playing beach, and they haven't been playing beach. They're starting to come back to the beach. But the gap that we're talking about between the Gibbs, the Dalhausers, the Lucenas, the Jennings,
John, let's not confuse outliers with the talent as a collective whole, okay?
Those guys,
Phil and Todd were an outlier, and they caught fire at the right time.
100%.
Todd was a side-out machine because he had the best setter in the tournament, and the 2 fastest ways to score a point was an ace in the block, so you knew Phil could put up 6 before
let me tell you this: you're talking about the product. Don't forget, 2010 it goes bankrupt. 2 years of.
I wonder why. Go ahead.
Yeah. So 2 years, Cuervo, weird tournaments. You know. Then you go basically another kind of 4 or 5 years. The tour's on like very loose footing. And then Donald buys it. We have 2 good years. And now the last year was kind of like COVID. Mm-hmm. COVID kind of crushed us. And then
I give Donald props though. He
tried.
The guy had balls. Like the scoring freeze, that took balls.
Yeah, I mean,
which we all hated in the beginning.
Product hasn't changed. There's great players all over the place, but you have to give them a reason to show. Like we talked about this at the very beginning of the show. The financial impacts, the financial sacrifices that players have to make are so great now. I was fortunate when I came up because there was a gazillion tournaments. Even though we only had, I think, 11 or 12 AVPs. Yeah, we had AVP Next, Spike It Up. All the legacy tournaments like Seaside and Motherlode, and they have money in them. Now it's like so the product I don't think has changed. I think the product is still very, very good. I really do.
I'm going to look at one of the years. You played 13 tournaments one year, right?
Yeah.
Now 2009, that was 13 out of probably 20 that year, right?
No, there was 13 tournaments.
Oh, there's only 13. Oh, you played every stop?
I played every stop.
All right, cool.
Yeah.
I just wanted to refer to a year that had like 20 stops. Like it was very easy for someone to pull in 70K if you have 20 stops.
The last time they had that many stops was the early 90s.
Probably early 90s, yeah. Okay.
Because
I'm looking at your BVB page.
Yeah, because I transitioned over, and the majority of the money that I won in my career was all the tournaments that weren't AVPs.
Oh, okay.
Right? UNC side, I don't know if we got like $3,000 or $4,000, something like that.
East End Volleyball also had
Casey Patterson and I won
cheddar cheese.
Yeah, we won an AVP Next tournament in Long Beach. It was a one-day tournament. It was $2,500. I woke up a Saturday morning, went down, won the tournament, was home Saturday night, won $2,500 split. I mean,
is there a better way? Look, there are worse things I could do with my day for $2,500.
Yeah,
but not even make that money.
But the point is not. The point is again is I'm not trying to basically brag. What I'm trying to do is give you some context that they don't have those anymore.
Yeah.
Like, tell me the $2,500 tournament on Saturday that you and I can go show up to and go win and take home $2,500 in this local area, let alone across the country. I know guys that are flying to Houston on Friday to go play in a tournament because it's a big money tournament. It's got like $5,000 in it.
Yeah.
Split across all the divisions.
But that's what I meant by perfect storm.
It's bad, man.
You just asked me that question about a tournament you and me can do that. Today, probably not. But I'll tell you this. In 2016, I think a 39-year-old could probably make the main draw from the qualifier and even go to the finals. Right? Okay? I mean, there's a guy I knew named John Moran that did that out at almost 40 years old. Right? So I mean, that's a testament to how great you are, but that's a testament to the people like out there. How the hell you in the qualifier on one knee? You're staying on the ground, creating de facto timeouts when the referee wants you to get up. Don't tell me these people were keeping their promises back then. No, I ain't buying that. You have to miss me on that.
Yeah.
But today, I got to shut up because that's again, it's this one kid named Miles Partain who Jorge was a better defender then, right? I just go through the names. Derek Zimmerman was a tougher server then. Like everyone in the comment section did one thing better than Miles Partain, but there he is. And no disrespect to y'all. There he is, and there you are. He's won an AVP before he's even old enough to drink. They tried to give him a White Claw. Couldn't even drink the White Claw, guys. Right? Nobody in this comment section has won one yet. So don't tell me that wasn't a challenge to some of those guys that are like, I need to figure out what is it actual secret sauce, or is it an old virtue called hard work? Because I'm working hard too. Is it good coaching? Is it just riding small waves because, big waves crash or whatever? Maybe it's a combination of all of those things. You are the player. I got to shut up and let you answer that.
So the question is...
Hold on. Justin Phipps says Johnny Boy. But go ahead.
Yeah, I mean, I guess... I think the question you're asking me is Miles Partain changed it in the sense that the hard work, the mental side of the game, he's putting all the preparation in to give him the opportunity now to win tournaments. What I was saying was... I'm
suggesting it made people question their own approach. If this kid came out of nowhere and did that.
I don't know about that. Here's what I would think. I think Miles Partain is... You talked about outliers. He is the outlier.
Okay.
He's that good.
I can go with that.
What I would say is today, the challenge has been, since COVID, there are not great opportunities for players to go play the sport that they love, put in the time, effort, and energy, and then, quite frankly, reap some sort of a reward where you don't feel like you're making the wrong sacrifice.
Yeah.
And I brought up just a couple examples. You brought up 2016 when, Cabbage and I made it all the way to the finals at MVL. You just brought up a tour that doesn't exist anymore. That was an opportunity for a 40-year-old to go play on another tour after I just played 15 on the AVP, 16 on the MVL. That doesn't even exist anymore, dude. It's gone. And had good money in it. I mean, I made good money. We were in the 2016 NVL championships in Port St. Lucie, Adam and I. We split $6,400. Doesn't sound like, listen, I know it's not $3,200 isn't a ton of money, but to do something that I would do for free anyways.
Yeah.
That opportunity doesn't even exist then today for kids. There is no MVL. There's no 6,400 for second in the MVL. You know what I mean? That's what I'm telling you. There's no opportunities for guys to go play and make money on the AVP and on the sub tours.
And they gotta whoever is in charge of this has to embrace this perfect storm, because this is the first time where the players are like, it is depressing. I'm not making a bunch of money, but I'm gonna do the elite training anyway. The last two and a half all the way up to today.
And I actually don't understand.
Are this group of men that are keeping their promises absent of the financial, the monetary reward, because like you said, it blows me away too. Because after a while it sinks on you. Like Greg Schenkel, we both know Greg Schenkel.
Yeah.
He lives up the block. He could have been. He wasn't going to invest all this time. Like they got bankrupt when he was playing. We literally walk our kids to school together every morning. I love that.
Schenkel was my partner for the World Masters games before they canceled due to COVID. Greg Schenkel and I were literally signed up.
Oh, come on. I can't believe you talked him into that.
Greg Schenkel and I signed up for the World Masters Games in Kansai, Japan before they canceled it in 2021.
You're trying to tell me Greg Schenkel actually picked up the phone and said yes for the first time in years, and COVID
you can text him when we're done. When you walk him to school, ask
YouTube is going to flag this as a tragic story.
Yeah,
right?
John Moran
and
Greg Schenkel were signed up until they canceled it due to COVID. We were signed up for that tournament. But my point is this. There aren't enough opportunities, and it is incredibly sad. It's gotten worse since COVID. There aren't any opportunities for these great young athletes to go play and make money. And again, I'm not even talking just the AVP. AVP is tragic. They got like basically 3 tournaments this year. What I'm saying is we used to play, when you said show me 26 tournaments, you're never going to see that on my BVB info. But Derek Zimmerman and I won a tournament for like $2,500 in Florida, right? Because the tournament existed to go win $2,500 in Florida.
Okay.
There aren't those. I could go almost any single weekend and find a $2,000, $2,400, $3,000 tournament, NVL with the $10,000 for first, $6,400 for second. There just aren't. There's no opportunities to make any money.
I agree.
Jorge and we're going to an open tournament on Sunday at Will Rogers. I think first place is like $150, dude. The low when I played CBVA, the lowest tournament was $500. Phil Stutzel used to run them all the time in Playa del Rey.
Yep.
Used to run the Opens in Playa del Rey, and I won a bunch of those. And the worst you would walk away with is $250 for a Saturday.
Can we shout out who runs CBV? I want to shout out positive to that guy. I forget his name. Is it Wilson? Chris Wilson?
I don't know.
He's such a good person, and he's so. I mean, so.
I just love that they
but
kept
so
it going.
caring. But that's what I'm saying.
Yeah.
So compassionate, so
Yeah.
caring. So and
Still
it has
giving
nothing to do with
players-
our conversation. But I just wanted to plug him in
Yeah.
since we're live or whatever. And I know he watches this sometimes as well. My boy Corey Mace from New York says my man is dropping jewels. No, but listen, I like your ideas. I like that there's a boom period where these group of young men, Evan Corey, I guess I can drop names. Frischman still, like you said, still takes care of his body, flying under the radar.
Guys,
The women we can name
flies
three.
around the court.
No, the women we can name 3-1. But I'm really happy that Theo Brunner got back in physical shape. He's had a lot of nagging injuries, and now he looks like he's in shape. Trevor Crabb, the Crabb that no one talks about, who has all the tools in the toolbox, that can play back row defense, that can play front row, and should have been in the Olympics last time with Tri Bourne, and most likely will go to the Olympics this time unless someone passes them. They won't. Taylor Sander, you know what I'm saying? Crabb.
There's a lot of grip.
They moved the volleyball needle. Like, I'm also a content creator, so I actually just I put up videos on YouTube, and I see, where the traffic go and who cares about the game. Like, there was a sunset match in Manhattan Beach last year. It was Crabb and Sander against Buttinger and Miles Evans. ESPN left, right? I mean, thanks a lot, guys. They left, so there was no camera coverage. So the only coverage was just me and like my scoreboard remote control or whatever, and I think it got like 17,000 views, which is more than the finals got. It was a sunset game, and four guys just going after it, and I really, so there's some players that move the needle like that. Taylor just a lot of. I mean, he's such an American beloved person. Half the time he'll show up to a tournament and and have a small crowd around him. And I like that guy too. He keeps all his professional obligations. I like him, but I like Trevor more. But but I don't even know where I'm going with this. I'm just trying to say. Best match of the tournament for sure. Yep, Jorge Martinez.
That's awesome.
Yeah, you get a chance, watch that later because it's okay. And I know you have a finite amount of time, so I would never recommend a video that would be a waste of your time.
I appreciate that.
It was the jump serves were just. Everything had some extra steam on. The blocks were more straight down. You know what I'm saying? The blocks were more like someone hits really, really hard when you block there, or you just put the doom.
I mean, time is our most important asset, right? So you got to
referee giving yellow card warning.
If you're recommending, I'll check it out.
Yeah, but referee giving yellow card warning, so it had everything a growing boy wants. It had the drama. It had clean aces, stuff blocks, stare downs, and it was a quarterfinal match. Winner goes on to tomorrow, right? Loser goes home. Running out of sunlight, no night lights. ESPN left. There's a big opportunity that they just missed that America would have loved to watch. And by the way, you're welcome, America. Kiss my. You're welcome. I'll put that game up, and I still get bad comments on the comment section. Yeah, you're welcome. So, what are you gonna say?
No, I was gonna say you said that America would want to watch that match, but. I don't know if they would. I mean, I think you look at the overall TV streams and the numbers for volleyball outside of the Olympics, and it's really sad. I mean, it's
marketing and promotion.
It's marketing and promotion, which goes back to you probably should have franchises.
How about better commentators? Randy Stokes.
Again, the product is. Listen, I think. I think it was Alex Ramazzi or somebody in a podcast recently talk about if you had hot dogs. If you were the manufacturer of hot dogs or manufacturer of hot dog buns, what would you do to increase your sales, right? And some people would say I think it's, and I might be butchering this, but he was basically saying, do you make the hot dog better, make it taste better? Do you offer it at a cheaper price?
Right.
Do you offer a cheaper price?
Yeah, keep going.
Right.
It's when I reset our camera. Keep going.
Yeah, I think the number one, and he said this, and literally as he's saying it, I'm thinking the exact same thing, which is the number one way to sell more hot dogs is you go to the corner in your neighborhood where every single person is starving to death. They're so flipping hungry, they will take whatever you give them to eat, and you will sell more hot dogs than the next guy. And I firmly believe that. And I think we have to look at where is our starving group of audience? Where is the starving audience for volleyball? Where is that? The product is there. The product is good enough. The product works. There's enough of a community around it. The challenge that we're having is we are not putting the events on the starving corner where everybody wants to, consume that content.
John Moran. Everybody has a favorite hot dog guy, though. Everybody has a favorite hot dog. The guys in New York, right? Guys who work till midnight. There's a food truck at
But my point is, stop.
Hold on.
I'm telling you right now, you got your favorite hot dog. You got your favorite hot dog, and I've got 1,000 people standing on a corner that haven't eaten in 12 hours. I don't care how good your hot dog is. I'm going to outsell you every time because I have 1,000 starving fans.
There's a line. If you let me finish my sentence. At Rockefeller Center, there are other food trucks all over the place, and there is a line for one particular guy because they like that guy's hot dogs. How about translate that to volleyball? Randy and I called a match. Qatar versus Trevor and Try. It was an exhibition match. They were flying in or whatever. Exhibition match. There was no money on the line. There was no there was zero. There was no money. There was no rankings, and 33,000 people watched these four people beat the hell out of each other. Why? Because it was the right storm of promotion on YouTube by itself. Yeah. It happened on its own, but people heard Randy, and Randy was interesting. And how the hell does Randy and me call a match and get 33,000 views for a game that's not where there's nothing at stake? Right? And yet, like you said, the numbers, by your own admission, the numbers for semis and finals where there's not just money, there's points, there's your name's going to be etched on the boardwalk. Don't tell me that it doesn't have, I'm not saying it has everything to do. I'm not making that a logical leap. I can't just do this 100% and rest on that. I'm just saying that it's something, there's a reason why it's called a perfect storm. Yeah. There's a bunch of things that have to come into play. That fantastic, legendarily fantastic idea you came up with on this podcast is like 50% of it. Jesus. Jesus.
Well, I appreciate that.
I've never heard anything like that. Dude.
I think
I'm
marketing,
blown away.
Yeah, I think marketing on the AVP is, and I get it. There's financial constraints, which again goes back to my original thought, but there's all sorts of financial constraints. There's a lot of challenges on the marketing side. The reason you're getting a lot of views for that particular match is because of the countries that are involved, the amount of promotion they did for that particular event online. Yes, I think announcers are great.
Then why wasn't the viewership the same when it counted? They played each other on the tour before. Why wasn't the viewership 33,000 when it counted?
Well, first off, you can't watch those matches anymore for free. You know that.
You can watch highlights on YouTube and
you can watch highlights. I'm talking about watch. Like if I wanted to watch Recife, Brazil, I have to basically, there's a firewall there now where it's a paid subscription on Volleyball World to watch that match.
Right.
Whereas if I can watch your match for free against two of the best teams in the world that's already being promoted, I get to watch it for free. I probably tune into that because I'm a volleyball fan. The challenge now is with Volleyball World is there's a firewall there for all the FIB events, which by the way, we've got time zone constraints, you've got marketing constraints, and only the true diehards are really paying it's like $7.99 a month.
But the true diehards would watch the YouTube highlights. The match is 48 minutes, right? Two sets. The highlights is 18 minutes. You know what 18 minutes are? 18 minutes are basically every single play that you paid $5.99 to say without the time in
and
between,
it's free.
Without the commercials.
But it's free.
And it's on YouTube.
Yeah. And so
and yet they don't get the viewership. These are the actual highlights where you cut out all the BS. It's still every single play. It's just 18. Because when you take a 48-minute match, when you take away everything,
Hold on.
It's 18 minutes.
What's your favorite sport?
My favorite sport?
Yeah.
To play or to watch?
To watch.
Oh, mixed martial arts.
UFC.
Yeah. And Bellator. So that's why I said MMA.
Okay. Do you pay pay-per-view to watch?
Yeah.
You do.
Yeah, my wife.
You pay for it.
My wife drop. She see that price. She like, well, I'm gonna drop kick you.
And not to prove your point, so you got to give me an honest answer.
I will.
You pay the pay-per-view. How often do you go watch the highlights of those UFC matches that you paid to see online?
Highlights.
You paid for it on Saturday.
They're not available. I don't know. I can't answer that question.
You paid for Saturday. Now you get the highlights, which by the way you can get with your UFC Plus Pass or ESPN Plus Pass. You can watch just the highlights.
I will watch
just the knockouts.
Now, to answer your question honestly, if it's the same night, the post show highlights, I'm watching it. If it's the next day, probably not.
Probably not.
Yeah.
I'm
trying to be candid with you because I can't bull crap.
Yeah, and that's my point is the reason the highlights on YouTube are not getting as many views as the actual match is because people want to watch the actual match live. They want to see the match.
It's true.
Once they know what literally you can't help yourself. You know what the score is. You don't go watch the highlights.
So why do I?
Unless it's the night of on ESPN and there's really cool interviews and stuff like that. Other than that, nobody's waking up the next day when you know the score and be like, let me check out the highlights of that match. Yet
the exhibition match I had only started with 15,000 views.
Yeah, I mean, dude, I'm telling you,
it's a highlight that means nothing. It's a highlight they're playing for nothing, right? I mean,
you're
not, I'm not dismissing your point. I'm just trying to have a way where we can answer this. That's what the Option Podcast is.
Yeah.
We keep asking the question, and then me, you, and Miranda come in anytime and answer this question with us.
Dude. Tony Romo and Jim Nantz, I think they're in the booth at CBS for a reason. They paid Tony Romo $15 million. Announcers do matter.
Right.
I just think we got to keep the main thing right now for the AVP, which is they really need to get out of the promotional singular event tour. It's not about the announcers online right now. The product is good enough.
No.
It is literally about marketing and taking those dollars from large corporations or individuals that want to invest in a franchise, that invest back into the sport to keep the athletes going, and then promoting it just like every flipping major sport does. We're the only sport that still treats it like golf and tennis. And guess what? We're not as popular as golf and tennis.
No.
So it's time to change the model. It's really a team model.
Look, I only brought commentary up because...
But I like your commentary. By the way, I would listen to you and Randy over other people. So I totally agree with that.
By the way, we called Motherlode the finals.
Really?
We have a live stream on there. They had a cable channel, and we had a live stream on, and they allowed me to live stream it on my NY Varsity thing, and everyone was loving Randy. And they the comment section, the YouTube comment section, someone was like Skylar Del Swole. So there was like this humor and this interactive thing that just made volleyball so much fun. But listen, the reason why I brought it up is because there is something that you brought up that has nothing to do with commentary, where people are using their credentials that are non sequitur to what the actual job is, right? All right, want me to light some people up? Light a match. Rich Lamborn, right? Won an Olympic gold medal, right? He knows about the sport. He probably forgot more about the sport than I'll ever know. How does that qualify him to be a color commentator? Why do people consider that the same occupation? The answer is that it's not. It's not.
I haven't paid enough attention.
No, but my point is, I'm only speaking to commentary. You cannot use someone's player credential and say that they are entitled to do this because they did that. Those are two facts that are illogically connected because of two different occupations. And that's what's going on with volleyball management. You have people that know the sport, that are into the sport, that love the sport, that might not have the ability to put into play the ideas that you mentioned on this podcast.
Yeah,
those are fantastic ideas. I can't name a volleyball player that can make that happen.
Yeah, I asked somebody. I asked somebody at the beach recently. I said, "Do we even know who the CEO is?"
Do I take that Rich Lamborn part out? Sorry, go ahead.
Yeah, I don't know who the CEO is of the AVP, and I'm not even sure who the management group is that owns it right now. I would say that, if they're open to some discussions, I think there's a lot of people, and by the way, a lot of people that are smarter than me that probably have similar ideas and concepts that could probably work on a larger scale. And I think volleyball, it's like you've got a window every 4 years and that's it. And you have to capitalize on that window. And I really think if they spent the time post-Olympics to go into the marketplace, to attract investors and to put together this model that we're talking about or something similar, again, this is just John Moran riffing, right? Mm-hmm. But if they were put together a similar business model right now after the Olympics, the timing is perfect. And then hopefully own the summer. I'm telling you, I have a big concern about, well, at least what I saw on paper, what's going to happen come the fall when they start playing winter events indoors in the middle of college football and pro football in September and October when they try to put to this. I think my gut tells me, and your gut is rarely wrong, my gut tells me it's going to be a massive failure, and it's going to do what unfortunately has happened so many times in the past, which is going to cost massive amounts of dollars. And it's going to be that next cycle of we spent a bunch of money on stuff that didn't work, and the peaks and valleys, right? And we're going to have another valley post. I hope I'm wrong. I hope this thing goes amazingly well in this Heritage Tour, and then the thing that they have, I forget what they're calling it, but the Heritage turns into something over the fall break. And I hope it works. I really do. Yeah. But the jury's very out.
But there are sports younger than the AVP that have found that you. How about my sport, the UFC? Do you know what saved them? Do you know that got them from the red to the black? The Ultimate Fighter.
Yeah.
The TV reality show. And you know what happened in the middle of it? You had fighters that are like, I don't want to fight. I want to go. This one's like, I want to go home. And then Dana finds out and he goes into the house and he gives that speech. Like, do you want to be an effing fighter? Do you want to be a fighter? Blah, blah, blah. Because he was like, he's doing this show and he's gambling on the show. And then he's got like people in the house that didn't want to. But
Jason, don't get me started on the content around. You look at these individual businesses and entrepreneurs and what you're doing right now from a podcast perspective, and you look at content creation and the use of content to create an audience, right? A bunch of raving fans. Mm-hmm. For some reason, the sport has not been able to get that right at all. I mean, we need more stuff like this. We need more individual content creation. But I look at somebody like the McKibbins and what they put together, and how they're not running.
Man, they got balls though. You know
how they're not running more marketing and really diving deep and then putting that on platforms like a platform, a dedicated platform. It can't be. You can't go Amazon one year, YouTube the next year, ESPN the third year. You have to have a dedicated platform. Really, that's a 5 to 7 year time horizon where the viewers know every single week. Which again goes back to my model. You know, every single week you could tune in on Saturday and watch college football. And you know, every 10 a.m., 1 p.m., and 5:25 p.m. or whatever it is on the West Coast, you can tune in for football, NFL football. We have the same opportunity in the summer for the AVP, and you could create an entire content creation machine with somebody like the McKibbins. And I'm only using their name, not to promote them, but like I've seen their stuff. It's really good, and they get volleyball. They understand the stories behind volleyball. And so getting someone like them to lead that marketing charge and then building a platform around that. If individual entrepreneurs that are doing simple content creation create revenue streams of $100,000 plus a month in profit, doing things like, let me teach you how to make more money in real estate. Let me teach you how to create a better podcast. How can you not do that with a professional sport like beach volleyball?
Yep.
And this should be a no-brainer. Right. But it unfortunately, it's like anything else would change, right? It's going to be, it's going to be
a no-brainer though.
Well,
it's difficult. I just got a lesson from you today.
It's difficult in the beginning. Here's the deal. The AVP's got to make a decision. It's going to be incredibly difficult at the beginning. It's going to be very messy in the middle. But at the back end of that, it's going to be beautiful, and the sport's going to come out of it. And I think we have an opportunity right now after the Olympics to change the model, really change the sport in general, create content around it. I think we could do something really incredible.
Just a fantastic stuff. Before I move on to the last question.
Give me the last question. By the way, who won? I want to have Miranda. Who won the lightning rounds?
Who won the lightning rounds?
Who won the lightning rounds?
If we're going by
she's like, if I want to get paid, I want to say Jason. No, can't
time restraints. I'm gonna have to say John.
He finished. John finished right at the horn. So we got to give John the rub on that one. No, but before we go on, I wanted to say I really value what you said about the McKibbins because there is a level of courage to make this decision. The countless hours of hard work that I can't even imagine behind the scenes. Yeah. And like you said, as far as idea sharing and new ideas, maybe they have a little bit somewhere to go with that to make themselves better, but mad props and mad salute to like the fours and just I do my own video editing but I'm kind of like my own guy, so I'm glad there's like 3 of them and maybe they got their family and there's more more people with a last name contributing. But I'm gonna dump my haterade for a minute and just say mad props, man. I salute the balls and the hard work that put you guys where you are right now, and hopefully, like you said, through new ideas and creativity, you guys can pick up the ball and run with that. I wanted to say that.
Yeah, I totally agree. I mean, work is my second favorite 4-letter word behind love, and I think those guys put in a tremendous amount of work.
Quick question about Mike Placek, who you play ball with. Did you know he had coach in him?
Oh, 100%. Yeah. I think Mike, incredibly smart. Saw the game exceptionally well. I really believe his tennis background helped him a lot for volleyball. He saw a lot of angles on the court that, I'd say a traditional player who hasn't maybe had a racket sport background. He saw a tremendous amount of angles, and he's a really smart guy, level-headed.
It's such a fit for those two, though, right?
Yeah, I mean, you stole the words out of my mouth. I said, and I don't know if he's going to be everyone's coach. But I can tell you for the guys that he is coaching, like they picked a perfect coach. Yeah. Right? They picked the absolute perfect coach.
And that's saying a lot.
Yeah. He's very technical, sees the sport very well, very smart guy, very level-headed. And I think that you could check those boxes across. I don't know Andy and Miles at all.
No, but
when you see him, you kind of see it.
And that's saying a lot because Miles and Marcus, their coach prior to that was Jeff Alzino. He's one of my favorite coaches, certainly one of the best coaches.
Tremendous coach.
One of the best coaches, probably top 3 coaches
tremendous
in the United
dude.
States of America.
Yeah, tremendous coach, tremendous dude.
Someone asked me who my top 3 college coaches were in the NCAA.
Okay.
I had John Mayer.
Great
because
coach.
He does more with less. He gets all his recruits stolen and still winds up in the NCAA.
Yeah.
Jeff Alzino, because without Jeff Alzino, there wouldn't have been a Stein Metzger and there wouldn't have been those 2 championships at UCLA because he was his assistant. And most recently, I go Dane Blanton because it's a different kind of coach where if you don't win the championship, it's a failed season.
Yeah.
There's a coach that has to put up with that pressure, the pain in the alumni that you can imagine that comes with USC and all of this and still coach volleyball. Big ups to Gustavo, who's assistant. I'm sure that makes that happen too.
Does USC and UCLA, they have beach volleyball facilities on campus, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
UCLA rebuilt theirs. They had 2 courts, and now
Okay.
I think they got 3. And John Mayer only had 1, and now I think he has 3. But,
That's awesome.
But I had to put Mayer first because Mayer actually does have victories over those teams, and he gets kids transfer from LMU all the time. He's the only women's season where there was no drama. How could you have a drama-free season in women's volleyball? You can't, right? I bet that's the thing that probably got Furbringer fired. I bet there was like a locker room brawl after Long Beach State lost to Bakersfield or something.
I just don't know enough. I honestly don't know enough about the women's game.
All right, so check it out. Last one is called the lightning round, and Miranda's going to read off the questions for us. And these are random questions that have nothing to do with volleyball.
Oh.
So 60 seconds. Let's go split screen.
All right.
All right, cool.
We're ready. Okay, who's going first?
Doesn't matter. Whoever goes first.
All right.
We got 60 seconds, and we're going to answer all of them in 60 seconds.
60 seconds. Okay, go.
All right. I'll start with the question first. Favorite comedian?
Eliza Schlesinger.
Wow, Dave Chappelle.
Okay.
Last good book you read?
5 a.m. Club.
I said the real Anthony Fauci, but I like Hate Inc. It's right behind you. Matt Taibbi.
Okay.
Last good book you read?
We said
Did
that.
I just say that? Last good movie you watched? Sorry.
Last good movie I watched.
Dude, there's not a lot of good movies out.
No, Avengers Endgame. I guess that's a while back. Yeah, right.
And Marvel or DC?
Oh, Marvel.
Marvel all day.
Yeah.
Pool or beach?
Used to be pool, but I live in Hermosa Beach. Coney Island's a dump.
We're building a house in Redondo Beach. I'm gonna go pool.
We can forget the clock. Keep going.
Lord of the Rings or Harry Potter?
Oh, Lord of the Rings.
Lord of the Rings. I got Kyle Friend as my guest. No, Lord of the Rings.
Yeah, Lord of the Rings.
Bourbon, vodka, or tequila?
Vodka.
Vodka all day.
Favorite sport outside volleyball?
Basketball.
Mixed martial arts.
Favorite action film star growing up?
Arnold.
Bruce Willis. Die Hard.
Yes. Oh my God. I love your pick because Bruce Willis is not muscular, doesn't have superpowers. He's like an everyday guy that you cheered for to live. Like, remember the first Die Hard? You cheered for this guy to live, and we all screamed when he lived.
It's one of the greatest action movies of all time. It's amazing.
Yeah. And we also had another question called favorite conspiracy rabbit hole, but I wanted to save that for Ty Loomis because I think that'd be like a more interesting conversation. I did interview him, and Jeff asked me, I forgot, I don't know who it was. He says, ask him if you think Oswald shot JFK. Just ask him.
Oh, God.
So I'm like, did Oswald shoot JFK? He goes, no.
I'm not really I'm not an aluminum hat, tinfoil kind of guy, so. Yeah.
I am, which is why I stay away from them.
Okay.
Because I think the person that believes that nothing is true is just as dangerous as the one that believes in everything that's true. And I could leave it at that. But as someone who served in the military who fired a weapon, I could appreciate the difficulty of not believing that Oswald made that shot.
That's fair.
Yeah, that didn't have a good shooting record anyway. So, tell everybody your Insta handle. Anyone want to know what you've been up to?
Yeah.
On and off the court, maybe you can help them with these new ideas. Jesus Christ.
Oh man. John Moran _360. And what have I been up to? Is that what you asked me?
No, that's if they want to know what you've been up to.
Oh yeah.
Just hit you up on Instagram and this and that.
Volleyball work, kids. That's what I got, brother.
Nice. All right, everybody. So John Moran might love you, but me, I don't love any of you. In fact, I can't stand you. In fact, we're out of here. So for all of you at home, for all of you on your iPads, for all of you on your iPhones, for all of you on your desktop, who runs the world? Old school, my man. Old school. For my man, John Moran, where you at? For my homegirl, Miranda. It's been miserable without you. I'm glad I have you back to Tech My Show. I'm Jason DeBase. This is episode 2001 of the Option Podcast. We are out of here. Hit the music. Come check out the Option Podcast on OptionVB.com. It's also available on iTunes and Spotify and on YouTube under the NY Varsity Sports handle. You're going to love what you hear.